Imagine if we checked in with ourselves as much as we check our phones. I'll repeat it again in case you were on like Twitter or WhatsApp or Instagram or something, or whatever app you enjoy. Imagine if we checked in with ourselves as much as we check our phones. If we rely on our natural devices, we would fall asleep. Checking our phones just gives us a little bit of stimulus to our bodies that are exhausted and overused. So I'm not advocating for like a return to telegrams and carrier pigeons, but hear me out. What if we gave ourselves and our bodies and our minds the rest that they require, the rest that they're seeking? How might that help our spirit? How might that nourish our heart? How might that help our shared humanity? I'd like to speak on what is our redemption song. And to me, it lies in the power of a purposeful pause. The ability to nourish our hearts and minds and re-stimulate our imagination. I submit to you the following. It is impossible, hear me? It is impossible for a fresh idea from an exhausted mind. I'll say that again for you in the back. It is impossible to have a fresh idea from an exhausted mind. The wings of imagination cannot soar when burdened by burnout. I'm asking us to consider a subtle shift from our external orientation and our entertainment and diverting ourselves and toward internal orientation, which seeks to cultivate intuition and inspiration. There is an element to our being that is beyond the stories that we tell ourselves, right? Beyond the shoulds and the oughts, beyond the things that people say that we are, beyond the accumulated notions of who we think we are. Some call it the soul, some call it the higher mind. For me, it is the opportunity to reconnect and find a purposeful pause amid the incessant tumult and confusion in our lives. What might be possible if we spent a little more time in that sacred space? What would happen in our lives, in the lives of our communities, if we made that our haven as opposed to talking about it? What if we engaged ourselves and reminded ourselves of the agency that we have and how we choose our time and spend our resources rather than being victims to circumstance? What is this place of connection? Some people call it meditation. Some people call it a sacred pause. I call it creating conscious connection to an infinite source that allows us to have rest and relaxation regardless of what's happening. In that pause, there is peace and possibility. In that space, there is sanctuary and safety. This pause serves as an oasis amid the arid desert of exhaustion and confusion. And this oasis is not a mirage. It's always here. And it's always available if we just close our eyes and take a deep breath. We just have to make time for it. Imagine what our world would look like if we acted upon this in all aspects of our lives, in our work, in our play, in our relationships, and in our governing. And as we check in with ourselves, we could ask, is this serving my life right now? Is this decision really in keeping with the life I want to live? What am I missing here? Or maybe we don't ask anything at all. Maybe we just enjoy the silence and allow the mind and body to heal and rest and relax and re-engage with the world from that relaxation. And from that rest, we begin to nurture our purpose. We begin to nurture passion. We begin to nurture and re-stimulate our imagination and connection, both to ourselves and to other people. Imagine if we checked in with ourselves as much as we check our phones. Another question for consideration is, what if we were more concerned with our wow than our how? What if we became so enraptured in the miracle of our existence that we thought about the beauty of mystery rather than the patterns of our history? We live in a time where there are untold levels of frustration and pain for many reasons, the least of which being the coronavirus, which has unleashed pain and suffering upon millions of people and all across the globe. But allow me to offering the wisdom of gratitude practice. We're still here. We are alive. And I come from a spiritual tradition that doesn't think that's an accident. If we're alive on purpose, and that purpose has power. We're the ones we've been waiting for. And I don't mean that from a sense of cliche, so don't roll your eyes. I don't mean that from a sense of cliche. I mean that because in this place and time, we are here for a reason. It's up to us to find the will, then the skill, then go forward from that place, rooted in peace, but also rooted in the miracle of our lived existence. And when we get in touch with ourselves and we get in touch with the miracle of life, everything is possible. I believe in the power of purpose, imagination, and connection. We're all in this time for a reason. And I believe that reason is to reimagine norms that don't serve us anymore and rebirth the world. Every system, every culture, everything that we take as fact at some point was a decision that we bought into. And in this moment, when everything's up for discussion, rooted in presence and peace and rooted in the miracle of our life, we can tear down systems that don't serve us anymore. And we can create the seeds of opportunity for all of us, more just systems, more equitable systems, more sustainable systems that we deserve in this moment, not replicas of the past, visions and seeds for the future. Isn't that exciting? I mean, look, it's kind of terrifying too, let's be honest about that. And you might be tempted to ask, why us? But I'll ask you, why not us? Here's the good news. So long as we have breath and health in this life, everything is possible. Anything is possible. You ask me if I believe in miracles? Yes, I believe in miracles because we're alive right now. Do you know how much has to go right in order for you to be alive? One thing goes wrong, you're out of here. But the fact that everything is going right now is a miracle. So yes, I believe in miracles. And I believe that the miracle for our time right now is for us to reimagine life as we see it. When we are more connected with ourselves, we're connected to the miracles that life represents. And we're connected to an opportunity to cultivate more authenticity, resilience, and possibility. And paraphrasing the R&B great Sam Cooke, I don't know much about much, but I know that if we spend more time with ourselves and when we get lost in the miracle of our lived experience, what a wonderful world it could be. The two questions for pondering. Imagine if we spent more time connecting with ourselves than our phones. And what would life be like if we spent more concern about our wow than our how?